and gentlemen, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Constantinide. For those who are back to my channel, thank you so much for being here and for listening to me and for sharing this community with me. And for the new subscribers that you're watching these, please make sure that you do hit that subscription button and of course the notification bell, because I'm gonna have some brilliant videos coming to you on a weekly basis. But let's get into this video now. How many of you, they've told you how difficult it is to become an international human rights lawyer? I've got news for you. You can do it. It is easier than you thought. It is easy to make it happen. And I've got 3 powerful tips of how to make this happen. Tip number 1, preparation. Whether you are going to an interview, whether you are in a university, whether you're doing your law degree, whether you are doing an internship, whether you're applying to go and work in a job, whatever that is, preparation is the key. Even as an international human rights lawyer, being prepared with your case, it is the crux of being a great barrister. It is the crux of being a great international human rights lawyer. So preparation, it is the very crux of being a great lawyer, but of course to be a great international lawyer or even to become one. So bear that in mind. Be prepared no matter what you are dealing with. Tip number 2, listening, is to possess great listening skills, because human beings, we tend to dismiss information that we believe and we perceive to be irrelevant, but it is not just what we believe it is irrelevant. So you're going to have to overcome the human hurdle, the hurdle to just listen what you believe is right, trying to see, trying to read to the other side, trying to understand what that person is telling you and what that means. You are listening to me, what I've got to tell you. So for example, if you've been brought up in an environment telling you, oh, it is very difficult, you can't become an international human rights lawyer, or because you're a woman you can't do it, then maybe perhaps you're not even going to subscribe to my channel, just because you have to overcome that hurdle of firstly dismissing the information that you perceive to be relevant. So allow me to come to your heart, allow me to tell you that this is possible, and do not dismiss it, because it is possible, and I'm here today evidencing how possible it is. So listening skills. As an international human rights lawyer, I once had a case back when I was 26 years old, and I remember the client was telling me about what happened to him. It was a genocide case, and I was fairly new into everything. And I remember that at the end of the conference calls and the conversations that we had, I've asked him, why have you chosen me? Why have you chosen me to represent you before the International Criminal Court? Because I want to understand. And I was surprised by his answer. He said to me, because you listened, Diana. You listened to what I've got to tell you, and you've listened to all of us patiently. And that was a huge lesson for me, and perhaps something that I would like to communicate to you. So listening, listen carefully what people have got to tell around you, and you will thrive. Listening and you will thrive. So that's tip number 2. Tip number 3, to be curious. Curious about knowledge, reading, enhancing your knowledge, not just in law, but in absolute anything. So firstly, you have to be good in knowing your law. So you have to read international law, the various acts, the various case law that comes out, perhaps some articles. You may have your very own rock star on a very particular law-related matter. So you can go and read those articles. Make sure that you stay active on Twitter and you read other people's comments. So for example, on the 12th of April, the International Criminal Court issued a decision about the Afghanistan situation. I remember my tweet went absolute crazy, and I was reading and trying to understand all these different lawyers, what they were saying and where they were coming from. So somehow departing from what my view could have perhaps been about the Afghanistan situation, and trying to understand what they've got to tell me. So curiosity about law, curiosity about any area of different knowledge. So for example, it could be psychology, it could be the culture understanding, it could be the fact that you want to learn a new language. So if I tell you, for example, that you are representing someone in a domestic violence case, he is let's say Indian. This is a case that I had about a year ago. It was an Indian family, and they had a lot of problems, but nevertheless the man was beating his wife. I was for the defendant, and it's about the fact that I was able to read a bit of psychology and how it worked, and being in denial, it helped me to communicate to my client and go through with him that process of him understanding. And I remember that at the end he understood that the evidence against him were overwhelming, and the only way was for him to plead guilty, and which he did. And I remember that we finished the conference. It was a very lengthy conference, because I didn't just do my job as a barrister, I took it a step further. But that person who you are representing in court, whether it is the magistrates' court, the Crown Court, the Supreme Court, the International Criminal Court, the International Court of Justice, you name what court, that person that you're taking the time to understand and to be curious about where he's coming from and what he's got to tell you, because you equipped yourself with all this knowledge, he or she will be grateful. Because ultimately in this life it's about contributing with beautiful and positive memories. So that person who left that court, that my client, he left despite the fact that he pleaded guilty, he was a happy man. I don't know what happened to him. I don't know what you know, he took a community order, so he didn't go to prison, but I would like to know what happened to him, whether he changed his life, whether, you know, that very moment in court had an impact on him. But nevertheless, I feel happy to be able to contribute in that perspective. So being a great international lawyer, it is not just about the law degrees. It is not just about going to the greatest of the universities or having the best diplomas or doing the best internships. It's about being a great human, about listening, reading, and understanding. Those are my 3 top tips to be a great international lawyer for 2020 and 2021. I wish you love and peace, whatever you do. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel to stay tuned for more interesting videos. And if I can just tell you one last thing, you can do it. I love you guys.